Hello everyone, welcome to the infamous Project Veritas Wall of Shame, where journalists' reputations go to die, where journalists have to print retractions and corrections and articles questioning our journalism ethics. Today's retracto goes to AlterNet, author byline named David Badash. Badass. If he was a badass, he would have done good journalism. He did bad journalism. Badash. David Badash on Twitter. What does it say? Biden wins? He's on Twitter celebrating Biden's victory, but now he has to celebrate a retracto because he wrote, quote, teaming up with far right-wing deception activist Project Veritas. Deception activists. I advocate for deception. It's like Breast Cancer Awareness Month, except our ribbon is deception. We are a nonprofit that advocates for deception. I am a pro-deception activist. But of course, if you read American Muckraker, page 59, every good journalist is a confidence man, because you kind of have to be, right? Because if you identify yourself as a journalist, if you say you're from the Washington Post, no one's going to be honest with you. And sometimes to not deceive is itself morally wrong. In fact, we would argue that in many cases, to present yourself as a journalist is immorally wrong. But don't take my word for it. Let me quote an ethicist. Lewis W. Hodges, quote, deceit is morally wrong, but circumstances can arise in which deceit is relatively less wrong than other possible courses of action. I henceforth declare March as Deception Awareness Month. Yes. He had to delete that, and now he wrote, quote, accused by progressive activist of deceptively editing David Badash was a badass. Cue the Retracto theme song. We actually sent a demand letter back in June of last year, June 22nd, to Mr. David Badash, or Badash. I can't figure out how to pronounce this man's name. Mr. Badash, your article, which is captioned Meteorologist is latest Minnesota to announce on air she's teaming up with right-wing Project Veritas, includes factually incorrect and defamatory statements, including but not limited to the following. But that wasn't the only retracto from AlterNet. There was another retracto from another byline named Alex Henderson. Alex Henderson for AlterNet wrote in a headline, quote, an outrageous affront to the First Amendment. Judge slammed for blocking New York Times from publishing Project Veritas materials, including this sentence, quote, founded by far-right activist O'Keefe in 2010, Veritas has drawn a great deal of criticism for editing videos in misleading ways and for its sleazy efforts to discredit Democrats and media organizations. I discredit them by quoting them and assimilating with them. Oftentimes they discredit themselves, right? And they call me far right, but isn't it a far left or far partisan thing to do to have in your Twitter account, Biden wins? I don't have that in my Twitter account. What do they mean by that, far right? Can you please identify anything that's come out of my mouth that's even right, let alone far? What is the difference between right wing and far right wing? Please explain to me that. So he had to retract the statement for its sleazy efforts to discredit Democrats. And now he wrote, Project Veritas has drawn criticism for progressive activists and media organizations. That also, too, makes zero sense. He can't even conjugate a sentence correctly. He can't even write. So in addition to being a liar, he's completely incompetent. You can find Alex Henderson on Twitter at Alex V. Henderson. His poorly conjugated sentence, Project Veritas has drawn criticism for progressive activists. Again, this is his update. It reminds me of Adam Goldman. We know Adam Goldman can't write very well because his colleague said as much.
Goldman's a terrible, no, he's a really good reporter, and editors do it on her writing for him. He's a terrible writer.
Now we know who the terrible writer is at AlterNet. His name is Alex Henderson. But there wasn't just two retractos at AlterNet. There was actually a third retracto. As I said, Alex Henderson can't write, but he's also incompetent. And the third retracto is an example of his, well, I guess both. He wrote, quote, far-right Project Veritas claims it was defrauded of $165,000 by hoaxsters. And in the article it said, quote, though the group claims to do exposés and stings in quotes, they put stings in quotes, we claim we do that. Its tactics have been widely criticized as manipulative and deceptive, meaning none of its claims should be taken at face value. We claim. We claim.
This is bullshit.
Afterwards, he wrote, quote, Project Veritas, the far-right group known for its gotcha attacks on everyone from Planned Parenthood to National Public Radio, was recently the target of online hackers who, according to founder James O'Keefe, defrauded the group of $165,000. So again, Alex Henderson deleted the sentence, and because he deleted it, I want to actually take a second look at this twisted logic. Though the group claims to do exposés and stings, its tactics have been widely criticized as manipulative and deceptive, meaning, therefore, this is his logic, you should not take any of the claims that I'm making at face value because I'm criticized. So what Alex Henderson was saying, which he now deleted, he's ashamed that he said this, is that you should never trust someone if they're criticized. But the very idea of journalism is to report things that the powers that be don't want you to know, is to publish things that they don't want you seeing, and of course, the powers that be are going to attack you when you report these things. So, this was completely deleted, and that's why we are going to give him a retracto. Do we have any alpacas, or did they all get destroyed in the flood? What? Jeez. My God. All of this could have been avoided if you just stuck to the facts. You guys are going to be getting the alpaca treatment. All of this can be avoided if you just did your jobs, if you stopped accusing me of that which you are guilty of, to quote Lenin. All you had to do was report the facts. Instead, you get an alpaca, and your lies will live forever, forever on the wall of shame. Good day.
He's coming at you.